I'm sorry, people keep messaging me! Hey everyone, it's Dr. Josh Fox, and it's been a hot minute since we did one of these, but I figured now would be a good time to do it again with all this crazy, freaky, deaky Sonic talk, and because my channel is basically a Sonic channel at this point. So, what we've got here is the mainline Sonic games. Ooh, isn't that exciting? Prepare for some hot takes, some cold takes, and some lukewarm takes, because that's what this channel is all about. Lukewarm takes. Starting from the very original, we've got Sonic 1, and this one's tricky because Sonic 1, you kind of have to give it a bit more of a pass because it's the first game, you know? It's not like Sonic, it doesn't have the polish of something like Sonic 2 or 3 or even like some of the later games. But it's still a well-designed game. It was popular for a reason. It did well for a reason. And, you know what? I think I'm confident putting it in a high B. It's a pretty damn good, enjoyable game, and, admittedly, it's outdone by its sequels, but it's still good. It's a good time. I think it's a pretty good game overall. Okay, next up we've got Sonic 2. I recognize that's not how the list is organized. I don't care. I do what I want. We're doing it chronologically. I'm sure I'm gonna mess it up at some point. Sonic 2 is an A tier. It basically improves on Sonic 1 in most aspects. It's just kind of a similar game overall, but with generally better level design, better feeling physics, and it adds in Tails, and Tails is one of my favorite characters, so that gives it like 5 points automatically. Next up is Sonic 3. I'm gonna give Sonic 3 on its own also an A tier. And I'm gonna give Sonic and Knuckles another A tier, but after 2. I feel like a lot of its level design just feels a little bit more like naff in comparison to Sonic 2. But I'm guessing that this is meant to be Sonic 3 and Knuckles, even though that is not the Sonic 3 and Knuckles thing. That's from one of the Archie archive books, but whatever. This is S tier. I don't think that there's any question that Sonic 3 and Knuckles deserves S tier. It did everything that Sonic 1 and 2 did, but better, and it added in a whole bunch of extra content. It is basically Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles combined into one far superior game. It's huge. It is a huge game that it does everything right. It does everything that the third entry in an epic trilogy should. Also, Sonic 3 has Michael Jackson music, so, you know, I kind of feel like you can't talk about that game without bringing that up. I said we were going to go chronological, and I just realized that we skipped over Sonic CD, so, you know, this tier list is already off to a great start. Sonic CD is a game that I have a lot of affection for. I love the anime, like the Junio, like the opening that was done by Junio Studios, which is owned by TMS or Toei or whoever. I think it's Toei. It's Toei. And a lot of the level design, I really appreciate how crazy a lot of level design is. My problem is that it's jankier than all the other, like, classic 2D Sonic games. It has really bizarre, collision detection, and the physics feel ever so slightly off, and the spin dash is garbage. Later re-releases fix the spin dash and the collision detection, but the physics always still feel a little bit weird. I feel like it's like in between Sonic 1 and 2. I think it's, which is funny because I think it actually began production before Sonic 2, or at the very least around the same time as Sonic 2, which is why the spin dash kind of sucks. I'm gonna put it above Sonic 1, but it is still in B tier. I have a lot of affection and respect for it. I love it a lot, but I just feel like that Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Knuckles are just better. Okay, so next up, because they don't have Sonic 3D Blast on here, since I guess we're not counting that as a mainline game, is Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure is a lot like Sonic 1. It is the first 3D Sonic game, and it sure shows. It's a bit janky. It's aged a lot in a lot of areas, largely in terms of cutscene presentation. But the music's great. The story is campy and fun. And the voice acting is terrible, but it's like Resident Evil terrible. I kind of love it. I think the main issue with it is like half the game is like the Sonic Tails and like Gamma stuff, which I really like. Yeah, hot take. I actually quite like the Gamma stuff, even if it is a little bit too slow and clunky at times. But then the other half is like the Knuckles stuff, which isn't like terrible, but like it feels a little bit stilted, and I'm just not a big fan of treasure hunting. And then there's Amy and Big. Now, Amy is tolerable, Amy is fine, but Big stages, and I love Big. I think Big the Cat's a great character. He's underrated as hell. But I hate his stages in Sonic Adventure. It's not even just because it's fishing, because fishing has, like, no place in a Sonic game, in my opinion. But it's really bad fishing. It's just Sega bass fishing, but it's glitchy and terrible and doesn't work right. It's just, I don't know. I'm gonna put Sonic Adventure below the first Sonic game at B. It's a good game overall, and I do recommend going back to it, but, like, just like a lot of early 3D platformers, it's aged, and, yeah, there's definitely some jank to be found there. On the other hand is Sonic Adventure 2, which also has jank, don't get me wrong, but it does a much better job of covering up that jank. And the percentage of parts of the game that I enjoy are way larger than the percentage of parts that I don't in Sonic Adventure 2. In Sonic Adventure 1... half of the game I don't really like playing. In Sonic Adventure 2, it's more like there's just a couple of stages that I don't like, which is true of every Sonic game. And yes, there is 100%ing it, and if you've seen my streams, you know that that's a bit of a nightmare. But I don't always let that necessarily get in the way of how much I enjoy a game as a whole, because, like, I still love Mario Galaxy, but I'm not a super huge fan of having to play through it twice to get everything. I love Mario Sunshine, but that game is an absolute nightmare to 100%, like, oh my god. And, you know, I love the old Crash games, but those are also a real pain in the butt to 100%. And I still hold them up to a high pedigree. You know what? I think it is still safe to say to this day, and it is largely biased, I admit, but the amazing story, the surprisingly still holds up pretty well voice acting despite some cheesiness in it, the amazing music, and just the fact that, like, I still think that to this day, controlling Sonic in 3D has never felt this good. And I like the mech stages, and I mostly like the treasure hunting. I feel like that out of the 3 play styles, it's my least favorite, and it has the most janky stages. But as a whole, Sonic Adventure 2, from start to finish, even if it does get really annoying trying to 100%, I think admittedly a lot of it's bias. It's an S rank. It's an S rank. I don't think that there's any question of that. Get mad. Alright, next up is Sonic Heroes, and ooh, Sonic Heroes is when things start to get rocky, because you can see lowest we've got so far was a mid-B rank with Sonic Adventure, and I still gave that game lots of praise. Sonic Heroes is when things start to get a little bit iffy, because here's the thing, I love Sonic Heroes. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a good game. It has, like, the jank at this point is less excusable, because it was 2003, at this point I think we had started to figure things out. And it's jankier than the other 2 3D Sonic games. And it doesn't help, too, that, like, a lot of the level design is overly long and frustrating, and I don't know, this one is a one that I like a lot. And I know that a lot of people really like, but I also know a lot of people really don't like for equally valid reasons. And I think it's good to give it a C tier. I say it's a high C, maybe a low B. I might change it to a low B in a minute, but for the time being, it's a high C. I like it, but it's not a great game. This list does not include Shadow, even though I would argue it's technically a mainline game because it has important plot things. Shadow would go in D. It's another game I like, but it's definitely not good. It's very jank. The story's kind of really stupid, and yeah, playing through it like 10 times to get the final story is really a pain in the butt. But after Sonic Heroes is 06, and I don't think there's any question here. 06 is an E rank. 06 has a lot of ambition on its side, and I respect that about it, but ambition can only get you so far. Sonic Adventure 2 had ambition, and that game's fantastic. Sonic 3 Knuckles had a lot of ambition, that game's fantastic. Sonic 06 has a lot of ambition, not fantastic. I also recognize that it had a lot of time constraints, is the thing. It had to get out. It had to get out by Christmas. But that's largely Sega's... I know that there was some pressure from Sony and Microsoft, I think, but it's largely Sega's fault, so I'm willing to give Sega the L, or in this case the E, for Sonic 06. Ambition and passion can only get you so far. When the game is so functionally busted that fan projects exist to make it a good game, then you've done something wrong, but at least it led to something good. If it was like something like P06, which I haven't played yet, I would definitely put it higher. But as it stands, 06 on its own, just the vanilla 06 experience, No, it's a bad game. I'm sorry. It is one of the low points of the series. It's a funny game. There's a lot to laugh at it, but there's a lot to also get mad at, and there's a lot to also be disappointed by. So after that was Sonic Unleashed, which was a bit of a turning point because, and it's also seemed like a huge bump in people defending it, because I remember when Unleashed came out, the general consensus was that it's alright, it's pretty okay, the daytime stuff's a lot of fun, but the Werehog drags it down. And I'm still kind of that mindset. It's a very Sonic Adventure situation. In fact, the game's a lot like Sonic Adventure. Hub worlds, ambitious like storytelling and presentation, albeit Sonic Unleashed is going to age a lot more gracefully. Like, I still think Sonic Unleashed looks incredible, and it's been like years now. Like you could release Sonic Unleashed today, and I still think it would like match up with some of the best looking games that are coming out to this day. And the story is fantastic. Like, by Sonic standards, it's right up there. The characterization's on point. The storytelling is, like, really, really damn good. It's a it has a lot going for it that would make it a fantastic game, but that goddamn Werehog bogs everything down. And I know that there's a lot of people who defend it now. It's not even so much I'm of the mindset that it has no place being there. You can increase the pace. You could make a hack and slash beat 'em up work for Sonic. I don't feel like that it does. It feels like God of War, but worse. And I just don't have fun playing the Werehog stages largely. The first few are alright, and the music for them is amazing. Sonic Unleashed is like the best soundtrack since Sonic Adventure. And there's other things too, like that people don't talk about. Collecting the Sun and Moon medals is a pain in the ass. The hub worlds are cute and fun, but I feel like they kind of break up the pace a little bit too much sometimes. The temple bits are alright. They feel like they kind of drag. And yeah, those Werehog stages are a real bummer. It's a shame because I feel like that this could have been the next big Sonic game. I feel like that this could have been an S tier, but I feel like I'm more comfortable giving it a B rank just before that's 06. No, 06 came back in E. Sonic Unleashed, I think I'm comfortable putting it just above Sonic Adventure, because I feel like it has some of the very similar issues, but it's at least more polished. I find it a very charming game, but I do feel like that there's this kind of push against more modern Sonic stuff that makes us kind of, I think, forgive a lot of its issues. And keep in mind, I was fairly young when Unleashed came. Fairly young, like relatively speaking. I think it would have been about like 11 or 12 because it was 2008 when Unleashed came out. So I have a lot of nostalgia for it, like I do Sonic Adventure. But I do feel like that we as a community are kind of overlooking a lot of its issues because those daytime stages are so good, because those cutscenes are so good, because those graphics are so nice, because that music is so good, that we forget a lot of the issues that the game has, and I feel like that they're more glaring than even something like Sonic Adventure 2, which has its own glaring issues, but I feel like those are easier to overlook. But that's just me, that's largely personal. Okay, so after Sonic Unleashed, I think Sonic 4 came out first. Sonic 4 Episode 1 came out before Sonic Colors. Yeah, it did. Sonic 4 Episode 1, I wish they didn't name Sonic 4 because I think people would give it a more fair shake. It's actually funny. It has the opposite of Unleashed, where when it came out, people liked it. Not so much now. I think a lot of that, even before Sonic Mania, a lot of people started to turn on it, and I can't blame them. It's a bit janky. The physics are not great. The level design is very repetitive. The aesthetics are very plasticky looking, and the music is kind of not good. But I don't know. I had fun with it, but I couldn't tell you why. I think I'm gonna give it like a C tier, just below Heroes, because I think that it is, despite the physics being not great, I think that functionally it's sound. I think the idea of giving classic Sonic gameplay the homing attack is a good one. Some of the music is quite good, and there are some levels that I do like a lot. I also just appreciate that it was just kind of a nice attempt to get back to basics. I just really wish they didn't call it Sonic 4 because it doesn't feel like Sonic 4. They should have called it, like, I don't know, Sonic 2D Adventure or something. I don't know. They shouldn't have called it Sonic 4 because that put unfair expectations on it. Because if you are to leave those, well, it does have its issues with repetitive level design and kind of overly plasticky looking aesthetics. The level design, when it gets good, it gets really good, even if it is derivative. And the physics themselves could work if it wasn't Sonic 4, but it is, and that kind of drags it down a bit. Next up was Sonic Colors, and Sonic Colors was... is Sonic Unleashed was like the turning point where things started to get good again. Sonic Colors was when faith was generally restored in the franchise. It's a bit more contentious these days. I see a lot of people don't like Colors as much, largely because I feel like that a lot of people are sick of the modern style of Sonic games. And so naturally they look back at it. It's like what happened with the adventure games and the darker Sonic games, where people were like, ah, man, we're so tired of this. We want something that's more light-hearted and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog styled. Just wait, in a few years, people will be like pining for Sonic Color styles writing again. Just wait, just watch. That's how it works. As for Sonic Colors on its own, I think Sonic Colors is... I prefer it to Unleashed. I think Unleashed has better storytelling and obviously looks nicer because it's on Xbox 360. Sonic Colors Sonic Colors looks better than Sonic Unleashed on Wii, but like, you know, that we didn't even talk about that when we talked about Unleashed. If you're curious, Unleashed is fine. It'd probably go like in C tier, like high C, probably above Heroes. It still looks really nice for a Wii game. The cutscenes are, some of the jokes are hit and miss, but when they hit really hard. But when they miss, they only kind of miss, where it's just kind of like an ugh. But in general, I feel like it's about the same quality of writing as like something like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just, it's a different style. It's a little bit more wordy. It's a little bit more sarcastic. And I like that. I think that works for a sort of comical Sonic kind of thing. And that's sort of what they put into Sonic Boom. As for the core gameplay, it's basically everything that you like about Sonic Unleashed, but they slimmed it down and made it simpler and easier to understand. They had more of an emphasis on 2D, and the gimmick of the game is not intrusive. Oh my god, they finally found a Sonic gimmick that didn't feel super intrusive and felt like it naturally complemented Sonic's moveset because it's largely just wacky, out-of-this-world kind of power-ups. And I feel like that works really well. The Wisps are an awesome addition. I do feel like that they feel a little bit weird that they've been trying to shoehorn them in other games post-Colors. Like, they have no business being in Lost World. Like, at least Forces has the Wispons, but I have no idea why there are Wisps in Lost World. But in Colors, they do a great job of helping the game feel more robust because they give you more paths to go along and extra bonuses to find. They do what something like these should do. They extend Sonic's abilities and they extend the level design. It's really good, fun stuff. At times, the gameplay is a little bit blocky. I would argue Sonic Unleashed has less blocky platforming, but Sonic Colors has better feeling controls, even if overall it's more simplified because they have like more context-sensitive stuff where it's like, oh, well, this part you can drift, in this part you sidestep. But I think that makes it easier to digest this playstyle. I think Sonic Colors is a fantastic entry point for anyone who hasn't played Sonic. If you're not going to play the first Sonic game, play Sonic Colors. I think it is a great starting point for any newbie who is unfamiliar with Sonic. I will always tell people that. I think the comical writing makes it really easy to get into. The small cast of characters makes it easy to get into. The setting is wild and imaginative and lets them basically do whatever the hell they want. I think Eggman's Interstellar Amusement Park is the last truly great Sonic, I guess, location. Well, okay, there's the zones in Sonic Mania, I guess. Never mind. But when it comes to, like, I feel like it's the last truly fully original feeling Sonic game, too. And the Interstellar Amusement Park and the levels in that help with that a lot. And of course, the gameplay is the boost gameplay, but it is a fairly easier to grasp version of it, without feeling like it's less fun. It does trim a little bit of the meat here and there, which Some Call Me Johnny points out in his re-review, but it's still a really damn good game. I love them to, like, port Sonic Colors to the PC. I love Sonic Colors. I think this game deserves, like, a... Oof. You know what? I'm gonna be controversial. I'm gonna give it a high S. I think this game is like a mid S rather. I think this game is really good, and I think people can die mad about it. Next up, only a year later, was Sonic Generations, and Sonic Generations. Okay, so take all the things that I complimented Colors for with its more larger level design, but apply a lot of the things that made Unleashed cool, the more robust moveset, it's a bit more balanced towards 3D than 2D, albeit there is still the 2D sections in modern Sonic's gameplay for some reason, and the more, like, luscious Unleashed-style graphics, albeit they don't look quite as good, but I still think that they look really nice, and the art design is even better in my opinion, because it's classic Sonic locations reimagining gorgeous HD. The story and cutscenes are worse than Unleashed and Colors. It's a lot of standing around and doing nothing. There are some really cute moments that where classic and modern Sonic interact, and I like that. Sonic Generations, I still think to this day, like, while Sonic Adventure 2 is what I still consider to be the best feeling to control in 3D, Boost Sonic here is nearly perfected. He's still a little bit stiff in some areas, but for the most part, I feel like that he plays basically like a dream. And it just feels so good to control. Like, it's so rare that you can play a game where you're moving this quickly and feel like you have this good of control, but you do in Generations. It feels really good. And the level design complements it so well. It just feels so flowful and so twitchy and reactionary, but they still manage to have good platforming in there too. And that's an extremely difficult thing to balance, and they do a great job at it. There's also Classic Sonic. Classic Sonic is pretty good here. He doesn't feel nearly as good as he would in Mania, but he feels better than he does in Sonic 4, and the level design complements the slightly stiffer feeling physics a lot better. But let's be real, the star of the show, ironically, even though when it came out everyone was excited for Classic Sonic being back, it ended up being Modern Sonic who ended up being the real star of the show here, because it really is the best, I feel, of this Boost playstyle when it comes to level design, when it comes to gameplay, when it comes to gimmicks. Everything about it is, like, it feels so good. The extra content is great and satisfying to get. I love that you're constantly getting extra content, like with music and, like, the concept art and things like that. When you collect a red ring, you always get something. When you finish a mission, you get something. It's just a really, really solid game overall. The only thing about it that sucks is that it kind of stumbles in its last act with classic Planet Wisp and the final boss, which is... Oh, well, the final bosses. Egg Dragoon is a lot of scale, and it looks a lot cool. It looks really cool, but it feels a little bit clunky at times. Although I found out you can actually destroy it way faster than I thought you could, and that's really interesting. And the Time Eater sucks. It is the worst final boss in Sonic history. Even Solaris is better than the Time Eater. But other than that, Sonic Generations is a solid S. I think it's about as good as 3 and Knuckles, which I think a lot of people are gonna give me flack for. But again, stay mad. Stay mad. It's my tier list. I do what I want. After that was Sonic 4 Episode 2, which is the most B Sonic game I think I've ever played. It's better than Episode 1 in a lot of it. The physics feel a lot better. The level design feels a little bit more original, but it's still not quite there yet. It still doesn't feel as good as it could. The music still isn't great. It's still borrowing too much from sort of classic Sonic level design without iterating on it. And Tails is there. You can't play as him on his own, but he's there. I mean, there's multiplayer, which is cool, and I like the Sonic Advance style kind of tag team mechanics, but Sonic Advance 3 style tag team mechanics, rather. And I like Episode Metal, but just as a whole, it still feels like it's incomplete. It needed Episode 3, but that just never came out, and so Sonic 4 instead, we're just kind of... It exists, but it will always exist in Sonic Mania's shadow, and I feel like that Sonic 4 Episode 2 is the ultimate mid-tier, it's pretty alright Sonic game. It wouldn't hurt to play it, but you're not missing anything if you don't. After that is Sonic Lost World, and I have very similar opinions on that. Sonic Lost World, I think, is a bit better than Sonic 4 Episode 2, largely just because I think that when it has good levels, it has really damn good levels, but when it gets bad, it gets pretty bad. I think Sonic Lost World's key issue is that I don't know why they decided to change the gameplay style when it feels like they had finally figured out what to do with Sonic in 3D now. But instead, they're like, let's do something completely different, and let's rip off Mario Galaxy, and you could say, oh, but it's like Sonic Extreme. No. The actual game when you're controlling Sonic, he feels quite good. It's not adventure levels of good, but like, the parkour mechanics, they can be a bit jank, mostly in 2D, but the actual, like feel that he has is pretty good. And when the level design gets good, it does get really good, but when it gets bad, it's long, it's plotting, it's annoying, it's gimmicky. The wisps are here for no reason. You end up rolling up in a snowball at one point. It feels like every other stage is some weird thing that they added into it. Like, there's a stealth section. Who wanted to play a Sonic game with stealth? Like, that just feels weird to me. And it just doesn't feel as good as any of the Boost games did up to this point. And there's a lot that I appreciated about it. The storytelling is better than Generations, definitely. It still has some issues. I feel like that the cutscenes are still a lot of, like, standing there and talking. but the voice acting is really good. The script's alright. I feel like the humor is a bit hit and miss still, though again, it does have some really good bits in there. But I appreciate that they try to have like character and conflict and a sort of rising sense of scope, but it's all kind of brought down by the Zeti, who are really lame and boring, and I have no idea why they keep trying to bring back Zavok, because he's like the most nothing Sonic villain who's ever existed. You could do something with him with like a revenge story if you want, but that's not what they're doing, and instead you have to put up with Sonic Bowser, except lame and not fun, and I just, I don't know, man. It just... Sonic Lost World is like Sonic 4. It is a perfect, right smack dab in the middle of it Sonic game. You won't get hurt by playing it, but you're not... I mean, you won't get hurt by playing any of these games. What are you, a baby? You're not missing much if you skip it. Next up is Sonic Mania. And I don't think I need to dispute... I don't think this is disputed at all. This is an S-tier game. The only reason it's below Sonic 3, and I'm including all the content, including the DLC, the only reason it's below Sonic 3 and Knuckles is that it reuses stages, and frankly, I think by this point, we were all sick to death of that. We were all sick and tired of, like, Green Hill Zone and not Green Hill Zones and Chemical Plant. We're just like, okay, we did, like, Sonic Lost World had not Green Hill Zone in it, and now we're running through Green Hill Zone again, and generations before that had Green Hill Zone, and the mobile games have Green Hill Zone. We're sick of Green Hill Zone, and, like, Chemical Plant, and whatnot. Stop bringing back these stages. This could have been even better than 3 Knuckles, in my opinion, even if it doesn't have as many of the collectibles to get. It makes up for it with the fact that it has more playable characters, and I will always take more full but shorter campaigns over longer, more, I guess, busy campaigns, if that makes sense. That aside, though, everything else about this game is flawless. Graphical presentation is flawless. Music is flawless. Gameplay is flawless. Stage design is flawless. Well, okay, I say everything is flawless. I remember the bosses are a little bit... I find some of them are a little bit too gimmicky for their own good. But everything else about it is just so fantastic. I love Sonic Mania. It could have been the Sonic 3 and Knuckles killer, but it's held back by the fact that it reuses stage design. Even if it does get more creative with them than, like, Sonic 4 did, or, like, even Generations did, I do feel like that, at this point, I feel like it brings it down a little. Do I like Sonic Mania better than Generations, actually? You know what? I'm gonna these two are about the same. I am gonna put Generations slightly above it because I think that bringing back those stages was more novel at the time, but that's just me. These two are interchangeable, frankly. And lastly, we have Sonic Forces, and the more I think about this game, the less I like it. Sonic Forces, when it came out, my opinion of it was fine. It was alright. It was about the same as Sonic Lost World. I was disappointed by that. I was more disappointed because I thought they had a great opportunity here. The idea of Sonic 4... Okay, calm down, tier list maker. It's not an E tier here. Let's calm down. Spoilers. It's not 06. It's not worse than 06. But it definitely has problems that just become more glaring as you play it more. The level designs are really flat. Sonic doesn't control nearly as well as he did in the previous Boost games. The 2D Sonic sections are dreadful. Like, these are legitimately, I think, the worst feeling 2D Sonic games we've gotten in a very long time. It feels worse than Sonic Generations. It feels worse than Sonic 4. It feels like especially since Mania came out that same year. And you know what doesn't help? Forces also has Green Hill and Chemical Plant, and oh my god, stop it! We don't want these stages anymore. And it just helps to make it feel all that more uninspired and boring and annoying. It just, ugh. And it doesn't help that, like, the story is awful. The story is awful. They have this amazing idea, this fantastic concept, and they just throw it to the wind. Like, they messed up the story so bad. Plot details don't line up, character motivations don't make sense, Shadow disappears for no reason even though they seemingly had a really easy explanation for why he wasn't around. Infinite is a potentially really cool character with an awesome voice and badass powers, and he immediately has more impact and personality than, like, Zavok ever did, or most of the not Eggman Sonic villains, but his motivation is so weak. Like, and I'm using that word on purpose, by the way, weak, and he just doesn't get to leave as much of an impact, because when you defeat him, he's just gone. characters are either useless wooden planks or acting out of character. Sonic is tortured for months, but he's perfectly fine. We find him. Classic Sonic is here because we need money. I mean, because he's totally pivotal to the plot, guys. Tails gets the character assassination put onto him. Chaos shows up, but you never fight him. A fake Shadow shows up, but you never fight him. It's just... wow. It's just a never-ending bed of missed opportunities. The only thing I feel like that even sort of lives up to what Sonic Forces could have been was the Avatar creation, and even then it has issues. Like, why is what I'm able to do at the beginning so restrictive? Why don't I have more body options? Why are very clear race options like foxes not present? Like, foxes, like, echidnas I understand, but why are there no foxes or lizards? That's so weird to me. And, like, why do I have to unlock different, like, costume pieces, like, colored costume pieces? Why can't I use rings to pay for them? Like, there's just... Sonic Forces is just, it's best to be described as, this is a cool idea, it's too bad they didn't follow through with it. And the only reason I don't think it's E tier is because it is a perfectly functional game. It mostly works just fine. It's functional. It's fine. It does the job. I just wish it did a little bit more than just the job, because it had, unlike Lost World, where, if I'm being honest, expectations were relatively low, Forces had a lot riding on it, and especially when you compare it to the much smaller, much less expensive Sonic Mania. It just wasn't worth the time. It's just not a very good game. But it's not like Sonic 06 terrible. That is my completed Sonic the Hedgehog tier list, folks. So on E rank, here we've got Sonic 06, a respectable, if not extremely hilarious flop. Sonic Forces, a game that functions just fine, but is dull and uninteresting and never does anything with its really cool and ambitious ideas. Sonic 4 Episode 1 for C tier, and it is a fine game, but it is flat, and I think I just like it because it certainly has its issues, and I understand why people don't like it that much. And for the higher end of C, we've got Sonic Heroes, which is a perfectly serviceable game with a lot of jank and issues going on. It's jankier than any of the previous 3 Sonic games that came before it, which admittedly there's only 2 of them, and is kind of muddled down by overly long level design. In B tier, we start with Sonic 4 Episode 2, which is the perfect definition of an average Sonic game. It does the job, it looks nice, the music is alright, I guess. I mean, some of it's not great, but the music's alright, level design's alright. It just doesn't do anything all that interesting. The same for Lost World. Lost World has a good gameplay flow and has some really good levels in it, but it also has some really bad levels in it. And while I appreciate the attempt at better storytelling, it really doesn't go that far and is hampered down by really boring villains. After that is Sonic Adventure, an extremely respectable, if not very aged piece of Sonic history. It's a lot of fun for half the time, and then the other time it's kind of muddled and not great, and it has aged in a lot of places. But it's still a good time. I'd still recommend checking it out. Unleashed, very similar. While it's nowhere near as janky, it is muddled down by a lot of things that hold it back from being what I feel it could have been the next great Sonic game. It's still good, and I'd recommend it, but it is in B tier for a reason. It is half really good and half kind of blech. After that is Sonic the Hedgehog 1, which is mostly just here because it is the first Sonic game. They're still figuring things out. The level design is a little blocky at times, but the graphics are nice, the music's fantastic, and it is the first Sonic game. You have to give it that. It was revolutionary, and it still feels really good to control, even if it makes me miss the spin dash at times. After that was Sonic CD. Janky spin dash and awkward collision detection and slightly weird feeling physics are made up for by fantastic presentation, gorgeous music, and some really crazy level design, which is either take it or leave it. Re-releases of this game help a lot of its issues, and that's actually part of why it goes over Sonic 1. For A, we have Sonic & Knuckles on its own. A sort of slightly hollow-feeling game makes up for it with the fact that while the levels are a little bit too treacherous for their own good at times, so both Sonic & Knuckles feel great to control, and there's a lot of, like, extra great stuff about it that I really like. It is also one half of one of my favorite games of all time. After that is Sonic 2. I don't think I need to explain why Sonic 2 is this high up. It is everything a sequel should be, even if it is mostly just incremental changes from Sonic 1. The incremental changes make a lot of difference and make the game feel just that much better. It also introduced Tails, who's one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the Sonic canon. After that is standalone Sonic 3, which is a lot like Sonic 2 in that it makes a lot of really good incremental changes to Sonic 2, like giving Tails the ability to fly, giving Sonic the insta-shield, having better, more dense level design, that sort of thing, better presentation, better music. It is just that, you know, it is Sonic 3 to Sonic 2, but it could be even better, and it does get better. Next up is Sonic Colors, which I think is the perfect start, other than maybe the first game, and even then I think it's about the same. It is the perfect starter Sonic game, and there's a reason why it's on S tier, because I do legitimately think it is a fantastic way to introduce people. It was also just a really big, like, turning point for Sonic. While Unleashed started that turning point, Colors was the solidifier that reminded people that, yeah, Sonic can work in 3D and in modern games, and can be a lot of fun. Sort of doofy, occasionally not that great writing, although other times it is really funny. And sort of blocky level design does mean that, unfortunately, at times it feels a little bit light, but those are very small times, and every other time you will find Sonic Colors to be an absolute blast. It is a fantastic game. Next up is Sonic Mania, held back by occasional bouts of lack of originality, but the core gameplay is so solid, the graphics are so fantastic, the music is unbelievable, and that intro cutscene gives me so much life, including the DLC inclusion of Mighty and Ray and the new Encore mode, and you have what I think is one of the most robust Sonic gameplay experiences of all time, held back by a lack of originality. A lot of what I said about Sonic Mania can be said about Generations as well, but I feel like that its lack of originality in some places is mostly let go by the fact that we hadn't really done this as much yet, and just the fact that, like, it's just so charming for that first time seeing Green Hill and Chemical Plant reimagined. Well, first time, technically, Sonic Adventure 2 did it first, but, you know, in, like, bold HD and that sort of thing. And seeing classic Sonic go through the modern Sonic stages and that sort of thing, and seeing stages, like, from 06 and whatnot reimagined to not suck. Generations and in Mania are largely interchangeable. I put it slightly above just because I feel like that while they do share the issues of originality, it's a little bit less egregious in Generations' case. After that is Sonic 3 Knuckles, which I consider to be the perfect 2D Sonic game. A plethora of extra content, 3 fantastically designed playable characters, some of the best level designs in the franchise's history, fantastic music, some of which was provided by Michael Jackson, and it is literally 2 great Sonic games combined into one amazing S-tier Sonic game. And lastly, the big cheese on this list is Sonic Adventure 2, which I don't think I need to go into much more detail. I think I already went into enough detail when talking about it. It is a flawed game in some respects, but I feel like that its strengths make up for its flaws and then some. It introduces Shadow, who's one of my favorite characters in the entire Sonic canon, and I feel like that the way that the stories are divvied up is far more graceful than it is in Sonic Adventure, with the sort of 6 different playstyles and the 6 different stories. Instead, we've got 2 stories with 3 different playstyles, which are all overall way more fleshed out and way better handled than they were in Sonic Adventure. Sonic is never controlled better. The overall gameplay flow manages to always feel fast-paced regardless of, you know, actual running speed. It makes up for it with fast-paced action and smart level design. The story is the best in the franchise. The graphics are aged a little bit, but the overall aesthetic presentation of them is quite nice. Cutscenes are kind of goofy and janky, but in a very charming sort of way. Voice acting is surprisingly strong, and the music is amazing. It is my favorite Sonic game. And this is my tier list. I look forward to you all pinning me to a cross after this is done. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.